A few thoughts now on today's meeting between President Obama and French President Hollande. The president blathered on for the better part of what was an hour-long joint press conference, and an ordeal was endured by all. The president, listless, unfocused, often lost in his self-indulgent examination of the obvious. The president could only muster this as a reason to ignore the Islamic State while cracking crab with other leaders at the Climate Change Summit, while apparently hoping against hope the Islamic State would either die of CO2 poisoning or envy of the worthies gathered in Paris.
Next week, I will be joining President Hollande and world leaders in Paris for the Global Climate Conference. What a powerful rebuke to the terrorists it will be when the world stands as one and shows that we will not be deterred from building a better future for our children.
What a powerful rebuke to the terrorists. Can you imagine the Islamic State jihadists holding back their tears of inadequacy as lopped heads of innocents roll across the sands of Syria and Iraq? We shouldn't be surprised. Our president for some time has equated fighting climate change to fighting radical Islamist terrorism. In public, of course, Mr. Obama would never call them radical Islamists for fear of offending. And in private only, he might lapse and refer to global warming rather than the much more imprecise global climate change, and much less contentious, of course. 6 months ago, and last year as well, he warned graduates of both our Coast Guard Academy and West Point that climate change is the biggest deal of all. Never mind the Islamic State, which he also maintains isn't Islamic.
Climate change constitutes a serious threat to global security, an immediate risk to our national security. And make no mistake, it will impact how our military defends our country. That spirit of cooperation needs to energize the global effort to combat climate change, a creeping national security crisis that will help shape your time in uniform.
If you listen carefully there, you can hear a lot of Al Gore in Mr. Obama's tone. The president with a little of that wild-eyed day after tomorrow meets inconvenient truths. But we need Mr. Obama to drop the Al Gore act and try out his best impression of General Patton. He did it once. He sounded so good 14 months ago, didn't he? You remember when President Obama said he would, quote, degrade and ultimately destroy the Islamic State. Good stuff. If only he had meant it, or at least kept the Patton Act up a couple of years longer. But like so much that Mr. Obama speaks to, there was a wilting of will, of promise, ultimately of time and opportunity. Today, we're no closer to degrading and destroying the Islamic State than when the president found his General Patton voice momentarily, and it was fleeting. Today, watching the White House press conference, I wondered whether the French president shuddered as Mr. Obama offered up a climate change convention in Paris as a strong rebuke to the terrorists who had murdered scores of his countrymen, wounded hundreds of his citizens. I wonder still that President Obama could create such an equivalency in his mind, let alone utter the idea aloud. Mr. Obama has become, I believe, what he has created over 7 years in the White House. He has become our national cipher. The quotation of the evening, this one from Bernard Baruch. On such ciphers as Mr. Obama and keys to understanding ourselves and others who never seem to learn. Baruch said, age is only a number, a cipher for the records. A man can't retire his experience. He must use it. Experience achieves more with less energy and time. We can only hope. We're coming right back.